And here's Sundancer over here with his head in the trailer, investigating everything in there. He's not afraid, he's not worried about anything, he's just checking everything out, making sounds, seeing what they do. So this is another great example. He just got his confidence built up by checking out the tarp, and now he's actually trying to step into the tack room on the trailer. So I put some hay pellets in this tarp, and this is Sundancer's first experience with a tarp. Ruby has done this before, and Troy's done this once before. So you can see how he is effectively doing confidence building on his own. And I wanted to take this time to talk about how desensitizing doesn't have to be scary or stressful for your horse. This took me literally 30 seconds to set up. I had my tarp out here because I had some feed in the side-by-side bed and I had it covered up because it was supposed to rain. And now that I've got the feed into the feed barrels where it belongs, I decided to throw this tarp out and sprinkle some feed into it so that these guys can work on a little bit of desensitizing themselves. Okay, and we see Sundancer is happily ruffling this tarp all around to get the feed out of it with no fuss. He's not stressed or panicking or worrying whatsoever. So this is the goal. We want to build our horse's confidence without stressing them out. We want to make the entire training process as fun and as easy for them as possible. And this is one of the best ways that I like to do it. Many people introduce their horse to a tarp by just throwing it over the horse and letting them freak out till they stop freaking out, and then they'll pull the tarp off. But I find that that builds way too many negative associations, especially when you could just do this instead. And it requires nothing from me but to stand here and supervise. And as you see, he's getting more and more bold. He's not concerned about this tarp at all. So later on, when we actually do start picking it up and working on putting it over his back and things like that, he'll already be used to the sound. So we've got one scary thing checked off that he won't have to deal with when we actually bring this tarp into our true training sessions. So I love to do little things like this with the horses, and it's something they can do as a group, and it really helps them out with their confidence around scary and new things. Like I said, this is Sundancer's first experience with a tarp. Now, you please show me a horse who sticks his face in the tarp willingly and steps on it willingly, without any force, without any fuss, and without any stress. I love watching this kind of stuff with the horses. It just makes me so happy to see them being so confident. I often see videos of horses being desensitized to tarps in crazy rough manners. Look at him just slinging it around everywhere. And it breaks my heart to see the terror and fear in those horses' eyes, because it's just, we don't have to do things like that. If we are just willing to take a step back and just take things a little bit slower, move at the horse's pace, everything is so much more relaxing and fun and fulfilling for both human and horse. There he goes, stepping on it with both legs, eating while he scratches himself in the neck. Now, to set this up, I laid the tarp out and I sprinkled some feed in there with just my scoop. Oh, look at that. And then I folded it over and kind of crinkled it up, poured a little bit more, and folded it over, crinkled it up, poured a little bit more, and I did that about 6 times. So there's lots of folds and crevices that they have to dig into with their faces in order to get those pellets out of there. And as you saw there, Troy almost picked up this tarp and put it on top of Sundancer's head, and Sundancer hardly moved. So I wanted to demonstrate this to you guys because it's super effective. It's not hard. It's super quick, super easy. You can just do it while you're cleaning out stalls or pens or doing your barn chores, and your horse gets a tremendous benefit out of it. And also, I thought I would take this time to explain confidence building versus traditional desensitizing. So tarps are something that people usually say they need to desensitize their horse to. And to me, desensitizing means that you're taking your horse and you're asking them not to pay attention to the thing that's bothering them. Essentially, you're asking them to ignore the stressor. Let's see if Sundancer will venture back over there. And if they don't ignore the stressor and stop moving their feet, the stressor continues stressing them. So a good example of this is the classic plastic bag desensitizing. We've got a plastic bag on a stick and we wave it at our horse until they stop moving their feet, and then once they stop moving, we take the plastic bag away. But really, all that does is teach the horse that even if they're bothered, they need to ignore the situation and be still, or the situation is only going to get worse. Instead of that process, I like to take my horses and build their confidence around anything scary. So that when they encounter anything scary, whether it's a tarp that they've seen 100 times or something completely new that they've never encountered, they have past experiences to fall back on where they can say, well, I've approached something scary before and it actually paid off for me. It was actually positive, such as them facing their fears of a tarp and ruffling through it in order to get a food reward. Okay, so a couple key differences. In traditional desensitizing, we have to introduce our horse to literally everything that they might encounter. However, if we focus on building the tools for relaxation, so our horses can regulate themselves and feel confident approaching something new and scary, then we don't have to necessarily introduce them to every single little thing. They're going to have tools to fall back on when they encounter something new and scary. Traditional desensitizing also easily becomes flooding and overwhelms the horse's nervous system to the point where they enter shutdown. And a shutdown horse will, yes, tolerate all sorts of things and may even be labeled bomb-proof, but that horse always has the possibility of one day deciding that he can't handle the stress anymore and exploding. And this is where we get horses with labels like dangerous, or he's a kicker, or oh, he bucks. But in reality, the horse wasn't comfortable with the thing to begin with. They were just tolerating it. Okay, so it's very important that we realize the differences and the benefits that confidence building can have over traditional desensitizing. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. If you haven't already, please be sure to like this video if you found this information helpful, and definitely subscribe to the channel, as we will constantly be posting new training information to help you and your horse better connect and have a smoother training process. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments.